Okay, please put a bubble in your mouth. Show me, Amy. Show me that you can sit there so quietly and respectfully so that your neighbors can also hear the story. Okay, we are in chapter 32. Okay. We sit in the SUV outside of Mr. Van Leer's office on 5th Street in David City. The small car he drives went into the repair shop this morning, so he needed a ride. I raise my camera, focus, and snap a picture of the door he will come out of. I'm taking pictures for Mom this week. I have been to a lot of new places. A picture of a door seems dumb, but the varnished wood and that brass handle are the sort of thing Mom sometimes talks about when she's looking for places to rent after her release. Mrs. Samuels is up front behind the wheel. She leans on one arm and hums to the music on the radio. Zoe is just sitting. Me too, but I'm also searching. Again, that is not a smart thing to do, Miss Anaya. You're going to end up conk on your head, and that would make me sad. But I'm also scheming again. Remember, scheming is planning and thinking. I'm thinking about the Bucking Blue bookmobile. If we are going to help Mrs. Buckmuller, I have to figure that means we'll gather books and magazines and maybe help load them into the truck. We'll have our hands on every issue. Van Leer is going to stick to his guns about Saturday plans, I'm pretty sure. But if books and magazines move in and out of Blue River 2 times every week, I feel a tap on my forearm. I look at Zoe. She's being very spy-like and won't look quite at me, but she whispers, "You could use the magazine," she shifts her eyes side to side, "to get words to residents that you want their stories. You could send questions." My eyes pop open. I thought the same thing. I whisper back, "How did you know?" Zoe Samuels, you need to stop thumping your feet. Zoe Samuels gives me a grin and shrugs. She says, "Pictionary." What was that? Mrs. Samuels turned the radio down and looked into her rearview mirror. She scrunches her brow. "Did you guys say something?" Zoe calls up to the front car. "We're just talking about library volunteer stuff." She sits back, grinning. It's not a lie. Mrs. Samuels flicks the radio off and pulls the keys out of the ignition. "Enough of this," she says. "Let's go up and rescue Tom from his office." I'd like to touch that varnished door, so I pop right out of my seatbelt. Zoe does a little moan and groan. Ugh. But she follows. The door is heavy. I pull it back and let Zoe and her mom go ahead of me. "Thank you, Perry." Mrs. Samuels smiles, that smile I like. She appreciates a little thing like someone holding the door open. Inside, the stairwell walls are painted deep green. The railings are varnished like the door. A light green carpet runs up the center of the stairs. Everything curves upward. It feels fancy, but not cake frosting fancy. More like man in a suit fancy. Zoe is looking up. She's on a mission. "Race you," she says. "Chase you," I answer, because I can't race her when I don't know where the finish line is. Jimmy? She launches. I'm on her heels. "Jimmy, you need to scoot away from Max. I've already asked you." She launches. I'm on her heels all the way to the top stair. We zip past the receptionist. The carpet muffles our thundering feet, more so than at Blue River. Zoe hangs a right, and we sprint past frosted glass doors with names lettered in black and gold paint. We reach the last one. It's open. Zoe claps her hands over the side jamb and swings herself to a halt. I crash up behind her. "Get off of that table, young man. Sit in the seat. You obviously can't handle standing if you're going to try to climb on top of the table." I crash up behind her. "Two-kid wreck." Thomas Van Leer looks up from a large wooden desk. At first, his eyebrows are arched in surprise. Then he laughs out loud. Zoe's mom joins us at the door, and Mr. Van Leer rises. He rolls his chair backwards. "Well, who is coming up to see me?" he says. "My family. Hello, hello." He gives Mrs. Samuels a hug. Hey, guys, he says to Zoe and me. What a surprise. Jimmy, you need to go stand against the wall because you cannot be swinging on the desk like that. Thank you. Yep, stand right there if you want to stand and you can wiggle your body and stuff standing over there. What a surprise. I bet you forgot you don't have a car today, Mrs. Samuels says. Oh, gosh, I did. He laughs. Oh, and you've been waiting for me. I'm so sorry. I was involved here. I forgot to plan. Can y'all give me a minute? Well, of course. We'll go find a distraction if you're really not finished here, Mrs. Samuels says. No, I can be done. Let me get it together. He begins to shovel papers. He taps them on a desk to square them into a stack. Okay, so he's kind of trying to get them all together. So he's tapping them on the desk to square them into a stack. He begins to pack his briefcase. This is one kind of Thomas Van Leer. He's happy that his wife and stepdaughter are here in a real way. Get off of that table, young man. Please do not ask me or make me ask you a 500th time. Because you are not to be laying on top of it. He's happy that his wife and stepdaughter are here in a real way. I look around the room. His desk is covered in papers, spread out so much he must need fly eyes to read them all at once. There's a bookcase behind him. I see rows. Okay, you need to close that Chromebook. You too. I see rows of fat volumes like the one in the law library at Blue River. The reses go there to look things up and work on their cases. There's a long wooden table on the wall under a window. It's covered with boxes and stacks of fat folders. I guess it's true what they say. His work week is long. Those are all open cases, he says when he sees me looking. Stories, I think to myself. Each box and each folder must be all about a person in trouble. I take a dry swallow. On the opposite wall, framed documents, Troy, hang. Some plain, some fancy. Thomas Van Leer has graduated from 2 colleges. He has a law degree. He passed his bar exam, and he won something called a Spark Award. I read the curly font presented to Thomas Van Leer with gratitude from all who will pass through the Journey House Family Shelter. The next line says, we serve our communities well. The ripple effect is felt throughout humanity. Troy, did you have a question? Well, that's what we just read on there. I think you were probably too busy raising your hand to listen. It talks about how he helped the Journey House Family Shelter. And then it says, when we serve our communities well, the ripple is felt through the humanity. Okay, so, and we're going to read on because it talks about it a little bit. And then if we need to, we'll talk about that and figure it out, okay? That one means the most to me, Van Leer says. He comes over to stand behind me. That's the most important one. In what way, I ask? It was the opportunity to make a difference. I volunteered legal services to families in need. He thinks for a second. And that was a turning point for me. I knew I wanted to continue making a big impact in small place. He gestures towards the frame on the wall. That award changed my career path. For a few seconds, I feel like I'm listening to someone I know, someone like Mr. Rojas or Mr. Hazley or Mom. Mr. Thomas Van Leer is a person with plans. He's a guy with a timeline. Anyway, he says, it's basically the reason I ended up wanting the DA post here in Butler County. I decided this was a door I needed to go through on my way to bigger dreams. I look at the award and I think about Thomas Van Leer. If I started to understand him, it lasted only a minute. If Butler County is his door, I can't help thinking that he's slammed it on our fingers, mine, Mom's, and Warren Doherty's. Okay, I think that's it for now. Just read that.